Hi, I'm John Ray, and welcome to the Thriving Podcast. I'm your host and intuitive coach, dedicated to amplifying your intuition, transforming your mind, and igniting your inner magic to create a life you're obsessed with. 2 years ago, I was burnt out as fuck in a toxic relationship and a successful tech career that I just wasn't happy in anymore. I left it all behind with no plan, and now I'm running my own business, immersed in purpose and passion, happily married to my soulmate, and living out my dreams every single day. And if you're badass enough to be listening to this podcast, then you're already on the fast track to doing the same, babe. On this podcast, we'll dive into all things life, business, heart, mind, body, and soul, empowering you to up-level your life and embody your happiest, healthiest, and hottest self. It's time to make idealistic your new realistic, because you're not just here to survive, you're here to thrive. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the podcast. Happy Thriving Thursday. I am recording this late. It is bedtime. I am sleepy. It is almost 11 p.m. So we're going to do a quick one today. And I just have like a quick fun little story time that I want to share with you guys. I was going to record earlier and I was so ready. I was like, I look at all cute and I was in a good mood. It was 75 degrees today and I just got off a call with my coach. So I was like, feeling really like in like a good energy and confident. And I was like, I'm gonna record the podcast. But also I had this content idea that I really wanted to like create and put out. Cause I've been like, I didn't want to like sit on it for too long, you know, cause I had like the fresh inspo. And again, I looked cute. And I was like, you know what? Now that I don't look cute every day, you know, but I was like, I wanted to take advantage, you know, like when just everything is like there, like everything's ready, you're looking cute, you have a good outfit, like your hair is good, your makeup's done, like the lighting is good, you have all the things. And I'm like, okay, like because the thing was I only had like a couple hours because I was going to a workout class and then I was going to be gone for the whole night. Also, I'm already getting hot because it was really warm today and I get hot when I talk. I always say this. So I feel like I'm gonna need to change. Actually, I'm just gonna take my sweatshirt off because, so I was about to say, I was like, okay, like what do I utilize this for? And I decided to go for the content because I was like, okay, realistically, I'm still recording the podcast episodes, but I haven't been posting video of them. It just like hasn't been a priority bucket for me right now. I haven't been really doing trailers. Like, you know, I've talked about this. The podcast is kind of in maintenance mode, to use a term that my coach just mentioned on her podcast, Nora, Glove to Blow Up. She just put out this really good episode talking about, honestly funny, because I've talked about this same concept basically on this podcast. I think it was about balancing time and energy basically. And like, I've always talked about the priorities, right? And like your priority and your energy armies and things like that. But she talked about it. She basically like presented it as this like bucket theory and basically was saying, you know, like where I would say you're sending the armies towards one area, she was saying like you're filling a bucket. But she also used this term maintenance mode, which was like when you're not prioritizing a bucket, it's in maintenance mode. And so it's like you just let it be where it's at, right? It doesn't mean like you actively work against it, but you just let it be where it's at. So that is what the podcast I feel like is in right now, actually. And that is actually a really helpful realization for me to have right now to like give a name to it. So I'm going to tell her that because yeah, honestly, I feel like I have known that it's in maintenance mode, but there's been a part of me that's feeling like if I'm not going all in on the podcast, should I like just stop, like take a break from it or something? And I'm like, no, that doesn't feel right. I don't want to do that. And I think that's what it is it's in maintenance mode right now. I have plans for it. And I actually just this past Saturday, I think it's like coming into like the spring equinox energy because I'm really feeling like the New Year inspiration. It's funny because I was going to like plan out my entire kind of like year for the business at the beginning of the year. And I just like never got around to it. January, I was really busy. And then February, I was gone. And like just kind of last weekend, I like had a really chill week, you know, because I had just gotten back. It was my cycle. So I really took it super easy the whole week. And then on the weekend, I had no plans, which was amazing because I had like been busy every other weekend until then because I was like in Iceland, obviously. So like, you know, there was just a lot going on. But I was like, wow, I'm like so rested now and I have so much space. Like I have so much inspiration. So I ended up like actually like getting a lot done on Saturday. And I basically channeled my entire business plan for like the rest of the year. And it like all just came so easy. And like the vision for the podcast and everything just like dropped in. And so I'm feeling very clear now on the direction the podcast is going, on the changes I want to make. I just know that it's not time to make them yet. And so, yeah, podcast is just in maintenance mode. And probably around May, I feel like the timing's going to line up actually with like the 1-year anniversary, which is going to be fun, is when I really am planning to put those changes and that new vision into action and really ramp it up with that. But yeah, so all that to say, because the podcast is in maintenance mode, I'm not super focused on growth. You know, I still post when the new episode comes out. That's pretty much all I do. I'm not doing the trailers and everything like that. I'm not like investing anything into marketing it right now. I haven't been using the video footage is what this is all coming back to say. So I was like, you know what? I'm recording the episode still, but realistically, I know like I am not using this video footage. And I also realistically know I am not going to be going back and making a trailer like for an episode from weeks ago, like when I find time, you know what I mean? Like I'm not going to be making time for that. And I'm just accepting, like, again, I'm in this phase, podcast is in maintenance mode. I'm enjoying putting it out. I mean, again, I still have like a very solid group of you guys that listen every week consistently. At least like my downloads are consistent. And so I'm super grateful. And I love that we get to have this. And so I love that. I love that's where it's at. But yeah, I'm not doing trailers. And so I was like, you know what? Realistically, I don't need the video. Like I'm not going to use the video. So it doesn't matter that I'm not going to have good lighting. Like, why am I even still pretending this is a factor or a problem when really it is not going to be a factor? And like, I know that. And so I feel like it was a helpful moment of acceptance for me. And so anyway, right now I'm literally like I have my blue blocker glasses on because it's 11. I'm going to sleep right after this. You guys also, I have gone to sleep before midnight every night this week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And I was like, I am not falling off Wednesday because what always happens is I fall off Wednesday. It's normally because Wednesday is Survivor night. So I go to my family and like I always just get stuck there because we're just like talking. And I was like, I am not breaking the cycle. And I really feel like this is like a reflection of an overall theme too, which I'm going to have to do another episode on this. I'm really like all the shifts I've been having lately, specifically around like, I don't know, it's like not, I was going to say specifically around money, but it's also related to everything. But a big shift, like a big theme of it has been really reprogramming from feeling safety in urgency to feeling safety in stability. And so that's showing up every area of my life, right? Instead of feeling safety and urgency and my money always coming in last minute and always like having just enough and those kinds of patterns, I'm really starting to shift into stability and like a consistent inflow and outflow and being on top of it and not, you know, being like, oh, is it going to come in a time where it's coming in just in time? You know, really shifting those patterns, which again, there's like so much more to say on that topic. And I'm really excited because yeah, there's going to be a big money episode coming soon. I can feel it, but it's not fully complete. There's still some, like things that I want to let shake out before I like get clear on exactly like what I want to share in that episode. But so get excited for that. But also this is showing up with like my day-to-day, like how I feel throughout the day. I don't remember if I mentioned this last episode, and this is really related to the money thing too, but I basically, I don't think I did talk about this last episode. I recently have had a shift where I don't want to like, I feel like this deserves its own, like, I don't want to like do it as a side note, but essentially I just really, it was like another level of the worthiness wound, of healing the worthiness wound basically, and really detaching my worth from like success and from anything. And since I really had that shift, like I just feel so light every day. And it's just, like a weight is lifted, you know, and in a way that I never realized was there. You know what I mean? Where it's like, even like on my like kind of good days before, or like days where I didn't think that I was feeling a ton of pressure or urgency around something, I was on some level deep down, you know, it was like kind of the thing where it was always in the back of my mind. And now it's literally just gone. And I'm just like, I literally don't feel it. I just feel light all the time. I feel free. Like I never feel urgency around anything of like, I need to do that. I need to get that done. I'm just like, oh, I can literally do whatever I want. It's not that I'm like not like still having structure and like making a schedule and like having things on my to-do list, but I just don't feel pressure or urgency around anything anymore. Like the rush feeling is gone. And that is like something that I have lived with for so long. And yeah, again, I feel like there's just so much more to say about that. That's not what this episode is about. Maybe it is what it should have been about. But again, I wanted to keep this episode quicker and lighter because it's 11 p.m. And I'm literally, again, recording this now with no shirt on with my blue blocker glasses. Like I look so funny. But anyway, the reason I bring that up, is because of the urgency thing. And so I'm like not feeling the urgency in my day to day. And also I'm not being late for things. Like I don't think you understand. Like late is a part of my personality. I mean, it has been. And like, not that I want to like identify with that and like, obviously, but I have identified with that my entire life. You know what I mean? Like that's just been me. Literally, it's been me. And I like, again, I don't want to get overly confident here, okay? But again, I know I have a strong identity attachment to like being a late person. But truly this week, I have been like earlier on time for like everything. Like every commitment that I've had, I have been earlier on time. And I'm like, who is she? Like, who is this? And like me going to bed on time too. It's like all of it is just locking into place. And also, oh my God, I looked up the other night the like kind of details of my Saturn return, because if you don't know, my birthday is a week from today, or you're listening to this Thursday. It's a week from today, Wednesday. So it's next Wednesday, March 26th, my 30th birthday. And I looked at the details of my Saturn return because I was like, okay, wait a minute. I really am kind of curious, like, what is the exact timing around this? And basically, I didn't look too deep into it, but the like 3 primary dates were so freaking spot on. I can't, like, maybe I should do an episode. Maybe I should do that for like next week, like an episode talking about like my Saturn return, like reflections or something. Would you guys be into that? That would kind of like be cool for like a birthday episode. Let me know if I should do that. I was thinking too, maybe like some kind of, 30 lessons I learned before 30 thing, but I don't know, lame, boring, and also like 30 is a lot. So yeah, maybe Maybe I'll do like the Saturn return reflections. I feel like that could be fun, and that ties perfectly to the worthiness thing. So yeah, we'll put that all into next episode. I like that. Good idea, John Ray. Okay, but yeah, anyway, long story short, I was looking up and the dates were spot on, and it was like wild. And I don't remember why I just started talking about that. I'm sure it was probably related to the urgency thing. I don't know. It's tired. It's tired. I'm late. Okay, do you hear this? Okay, let's get into the little story. Yeah, basically, I just thought today I would kind of like do my thing. Yeah, give you a little rambly life update. And then I have like just a fun little story that I was just telling my coach it the other day, like catching her up on things because we just started up again. And she was like, oh my God, like, that's such a good story. It would make such a good podcast episode. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. Maybe I'll do it for this week because I don't have a plan. So here we are. So before we get into that, do I have any other fun little life updates? Cinder's coming Friday, which is amazing. I'm so excited. This has been really nice because we only had to be apart for like 2 weeks. Super spoiled because we're like the countdown was just immediately short, and yeah, made it so much easier to get through. So I'm so excited. He's going to be here for about 2.5 weeks. He'll be here for my birthday, and he hasn't been here in a while. I don't think he's actually been in Buffalo since last summer, which is kind of crazy. So that's going to be really, really nice and fun. I'm sure it'll go by fast. I don't actually know when I'm seeing him after that, but we're really, really hoping and pretty confident that we will have his interview date before he leaves to go back, like definitely by the end of the month. He sent me something today that I think was like, apparently it's kind of like the embassy sends the available interview slots to the National Visa Center once a month or something, and then they will just fill them in or something like that. So I don't know if that means whenever that once a month time is that they send them, that's when we get our date. So like it'll be before the end of the month, or if we're like on a list and like however many slots they send over, like it's possible that we wouldn't be in the first like people that get assigned. I don't know. I honestly skimmed the screenshots that he sent me because I was busy today. So that's kind of update on that. So yeah, but either way, we're still feeling confident for a summer timeline of him moving here. But if that's the case, we will definitely need another visit in probably April or May sometime to see each other. So I don't know exactly what we're doing with that, but cross the bridge when we come to it. I think that's all the updates. I mean, business is booming. New clients are rolling in. One of my private clients, she just actually today ran her first in-person workshop. There was 15 people and I saw videos and I was literally crying because when she came to me, we were talking I think our very first session. We were talking about her offer, right? What do you want to offer? Figuring out the offer that felt aligned and exciting and expansive to her. And I was like, what would feel really good, And she was like, well, I always thought it would be so cool to run an in-person workshop and that would be so cool. And basically by the end of the session, I was like, okay, you're running an in-person workshop and let's shift to this and make this the focus. And we mapped it out and by the end of the call, she was like, oh my God, this feels so aligned and so good. I'm so excited. I never even thought that by the end of this call, that I would have completely shifted my offer that I'm focusing on and be planning to run this workshop. And then it was literally by the next call, she had reached out to these 2 spaces and then she had it set up and then we're working on her pitch and the outline and then she pitched it and she just took so much bold CEO action of really showing up as a leader and owning her expertise to make this workshop happen and bring it into fruition. And then even from there, it was just so much around the content of the workshop and making sure that it really was expansive for her and really lighting her up. And there were times when it shifted and she had a plan for it. And we were like, this is feeling small for you. Let's make it bigger. And we shifted the focus. And then she ran it today. And it was just so magical. And I'm just such a proud coach and so happy because it's literally the experience of getting to pull an offer out of thin air, out of pure inspiration and intuition with a client, and then watch it grow from start to finish product and see it be so rewarding for them and be such a success. It's the best feeling. And also literally when she came to me, we were talking about her goals and her vision and she was she kept saying, yeah, eventually I really see myself getting into Reiki and sound healing and doing that. And it was very much a someday thing. She was really talking about it years down the line. And I posted this on my stories yesterday. I was one thing about me as a coach is I will call you up. I will call you out and I will call you up. And I will not let you get away with playing small. And so I am going to call you out if you say something like that and be why not now? Right. And sometimes my clients, I feel I'm you're not going to like me when I say this, but I'm going to push you on it because I see it. I see you hire and I see the timeline and I can feel it where your desire is pulling you to. And yeah, basically it's a part of my job responsibility to not let you get away with your old stories and not let you stay there and not let you listen to the fear and ignore the desire. And so I'll call you up and I'll call you bigger and we'll work through the fear, but we're not going to stop until you're there, right? And so I'm okay, why are we still talking about this? It's not right now. Why is it not right now? And then again, she took some bad bitch, bold bitch CEO action and she literally went and researched a Reiki cert and literally just got certified 2 weeks ago. We've only been working together for less than 3 months and already 2 of her biggest goals were her goals for the container or the year to do an in-person workshop to get Reiki certified or attuned or whatever you would call it, literally already done and just has had so much growth. So I'm super proud of her. So just a little client win celebration story. I don't remember how I got on that topic, but just because I love my clients, I think I was saying that business is going amazing. Yeah, I mean, my confidence is up leveling and my just conviction and clarity in my mission and everything is feeling good. I'm really 30, flirty, and thriving. I really feel yeah, thriving. Things are about to pop the fuck off. So that's that on me. Also, I do have 2 spots left available for the one-on-one intensive, the 2-week intensive. So those are available until sold out or until the end of the month. Hop the fuck on those. I literally cannot even emphasize enough. I feel this is a thing is a lot of people would be 2 weeks, what can I get done in 2 weeks? A fuck ton. Like, you can get so much done in 2 weeks. And that really is my specialty too. Again, like, I call you up and I call you out. Like, I'm an activator. That's my thing. And I love to accelerate. And that's why I really love to do these 2-week accelerators, right? Like my 2-week group accelerators. And now this is a 2-week one-on-one intensive. So it's like doubly as intense. And honestly, I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit as I'm thinking about this, because genuinely I was like, man, like 2 weeks doesn't feel like a lot of time. And I was like, wait a minute. But like, the amount of transformation that every single client that I've ever had in a 2-week accelerator or container has had is insane. And I really feel like not every coach could say that, because not every coach creates a container that is that expansive, and that activating. I really activate you to the frequency, and I initiate you into that frequency. Again, I call you up and up and up and up. Like, we will 10x your vision, your momentum, your income. We will 10x your identity, your confidence within the 2 weeks. One of the biggest strengths is, again, as an activator in that way, I can see the vision higher than you can, right? Not that it's like you can't see a big vision, right? But we have blind spots. And I think that's one of my special skills, honestly, is I can just really easily see this is where it's going, and this is where you want to be, and this is where you can be. And it's 10 levels up from what you think your next level is. That's actually your next level. So anyway, all that to say, if you feel like you've been playing small, or you've been kind of hiding or settling a little bit in your business, not stretching yourself as much as you can, not taking that bold bitch action, not showing up fully in your leadership, not fully showing up in your authentic, full, raw expression and your confidence, and just really playing small in any way, then these 2-week one-on-one intensives are perfect for you, and you should hop on those. So send me a DM and I would love to have you. All right. So let me tell you a little fun story, a behind the scenes little fun story time on my most recent sale, which is actually a beautiful, amazing client that is going to do an intensive with me. We're starting tomorrow with our first client. I'm so excited. And I just thought this story was so fun to share because, again, my coach was like, oh my God, you should share that. And I was like, great idea. But I also was thinking before that I wanted to share, and I just forgot, honestly, because it's such a perfect story about trusting the process and following your intuition and alignment and being open to surprises and just like really the whole process of manifestation. And the kind of this or something better, that's really like the concept that this illustrates so well. And I feel like those are things we hear about a lot. Trust the process and this or something better, and it's all happening for a reason. It's all part of the bigger picture and the bigger plan and this and that. And a lot of the times it's like just something we kind of say and we maybe don't really believe, right? Or like, we're like, yeah, but like, what is it going to be? And it's usually not until, like, kind of far into the future that you can look back and reflect and be like, oh, that's what that was leading to, right? But this happens on a small scale and a big scale. And so I want to tell you this story of it happening on a pretty small scale with a client. And also because I think this will help you to like detach from the how and certain, like, we can really easily get tied to certain stories of how clients can come in or how they will come in or what we need to get the client or to convert a client or whatever it is. And so also like just a story on like how it can be easy, like when it's aligned. So anyway, it's not a very long story, but it's a fun, quick little story, and it'll be a good reminder for you. So essentially, as you know, I was supposed to leave to go visit Sindri at the end of January. And if you remember me mentioning on the podcast, my flight got delayed. And so I was supposed to go on Friday. We were going to have that whole first weekend. And then it got delayed and I couldn't go until I think it was Sunday. Yeah. And so basically we missed the weekend, which sucked because the weekends are the best times because he still has to work when I'm there. And so we're missing a whole weekend of like uninterrupted time. And also we were really excited because I was going to be landing Friday. So we're like, as soon as I land, we'll have all that time together because sometimes I'll come in, if I come in a Sunday night, and then he has to go basically right to work because I'll land Monday morning, like early Monday. So basically he'll like pick me up, drive me home. We'll have like an hour to cuddle, and then he has to leave and go to work. So we were like really excited that we were going to have the whole weekend. We're going to be able to just like cuddle all day as soon as I landed. And then my flight got delayed and we were like, So bummed. But it was funny because when it happened, I was like bummed, but I also was like, okay, I know that this happened for a reason because it literally wouldn't have happened otherwise. Because it's almost like when you start to get so in tune like with your intuition, you just can feel like you know the reason something happened, or you like, because first of all, you're already always in that mindset of like when anything seemingly bad happens, right? Or doesn't go according to plan or how you expected it to go, right? You just know, okay, well, that definitely happened for a reason. Like there's a lesson here. This is leading to something better. Like you live in that this or something better, right? But the thing is, the more in tune you get, like the more connected you get, at least like this is how I feel. I can often feel what like the something better is or what the lesson is, you know, like I'll either know what I did to kind of lead to that. I'm like, okay, this clearly happened because da da da, and like I need to learn this, or I was this, and now that, you know what I mean? Or I'll be like, okay, like this definitely happened because this and this, and like I meant to do this or that. You know what I mean? Like I can feel a lot of the time I can actually feel why in some way. Of course, I don't have the specifics, but I can feel like the general like theme around it. I'm curious if anyone else relates or like has that same experience. But I could feel that there was like no lesson for me with this, you know, like there was no, it wasn't related to like anything that I was working through at the time, or like, you know what I mean? I was like, there's no quote unquote like reason or lesson I can feel around why my flight would be delayed, at least in like terms of, you know, because like for example, like it's been delayed before and I was like, okay, I actually was not like ready to leave. Like I've had travel canceled. I'm like, I actually needed that time, you know, and I wasn't ready. Again, universe won't give you something you're not ready for. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense why that happened. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't aligned. But with this, I was like, there's no like sense, quote unquote, to like why this flight was delayed. But I also knew that, so there were a couple events that weekend that I had like been saying I was bummed to miss, right? And I had mentioned it a few times, and it was funny because I kept being like, oh, I have such FOMO. I'm like, so when I'm missing the event, like, I really wish I could go to this event. And I was like, okay, John Marie, stop complaining. Like, you're so grateful that you're going to get to spend this time with Sindri. Like, you would much rather spend time with him than go to the event, right? But I still felt FOMO about it. And it was so funny because then, of course, as soon as the flight got delayed, I was like, man, I don't care about going to that event. I would way rather have the weekend, right? And that's actually like the shift that I tell people to use for gratitude, right? I think I talked about it in the last episode of being like exactly that, right? Think about, okay, well, what if it actually did change and you did have that thing? Then how would you really feel, right? So I was like, man, okay, like now I'm actually not even as excited as I would have been while going to that event. But again, for the context, like I was like, okay, I just know that this flight got delayed because I'm meant to go to this event for some reason. I just know, like, that must be it. Because why else would it happen? It literally has to be because I'm meant to go to this event for some reason. I didn't know why, but I just trusted it, right? And so that's like that trust again too, right? Of like, one, accepting it. Because I could have also been like, oh, I'm so mad. I'm never going to go. I'm just going to stay home and talk to Sindri on the phone as if I would again there, right? But I was like, no, I know meant to go to this event. And so I went to the event and I didn't know what. And I also, too, I went in open, right? And I set the intention. I was like, okay, I'm open to like whatever is meant for me here. And then I just trusted and I just let it go, right? And so then I go to the event and I'm just chilling. And it's funny, I feel like the first time I'm like, like, nothing's really like what, I wonder why I'm supposed to be here. Like, this is just like any old cacao ceremony. I mean, it was so nice, you know, I mean, it was so nice, but I was like in that kind of like a little bit of like salty mode because I was like, this event's supposed to be really special, you know, like what's gonna happen? But I was just like chilling, you know, I was open. And so then we sat down in a circle for the cacao ceremony. And just so happens, I sit next to a girl who seems super cool. I loved her vibe right away. And so I started talking to her, just having a little conversation before we started the ceremony. And we get into talking. And like within just a couple minutes into our conversation, comes up, like, she's like, what, because she was doing the sound bath at the event. And so I was asking her, like, oh, what do you do? And she's like, oh, I'm doing the sound bath, da da da. Or, you know, why are you here? And then she was like, oh, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I do kind of similar stuff. I'm in the spiritual space. I was like, I'm mainly a spiritual coach and I work with entrepreneurs primarily. And she was like, oh my God, we need to talk after this because that's exactly what I want to get into. I'm trying to do more spiritual coaching. And it was right in that moment, I was like, we are going to work together. You know, like sometimes too, this is another thing being like really intuitive and an entrepreneur is sometimes you can just feel as soon as you meet someone, we're going to work together at some point. And you just know. And it's kind of funny because it's another kind of like thing with trusting the process, because it's like you can't and don't want to just say that, it's kind of like a thing where you're like, you can't just say like, I know we're going to work together, right? Because it's going to come off weird. But it's kind of like a fun little like secret you get to know to yourself and just be excited for when it's going to happen. You know what I mean? And this is a good like lesson too, if you're an earlier entrepreneur who maybe has that intuition or gets strong feelings about people, but maybe you also still have that like urgency around trying to get clients, is again, like trust it. If you get a feeling and you're like, I really feel like we're meant to work together, you don't have to rush it. You don't have to push it, because again, if you are meant to work together, then it will happen, right? If it's aligned for you guys to work together, then you don't have to do anything to push it, right? So it's like, remember that too, if you ever do feel that way, because I know earlier in my business, I definitely would get that. Or I'd be like, oh, I know I can help them. I think that we're meant to work together. I really feel like they're meant to be a client of mine. And I would be like, does that mean I should reach out? Does that mean I should do this? And it's like, you can like take aligned actions and like obviously form a connection, a relationship just the same way you would with anyone, but you don't need to push it. And remember that like you can't mess with what's meant for you won't miss you, right? So like good little side reminder, because yeah, I feel like I used to deal with that earlier. I don't really have that anymore with clients. I'm just like, you're going to come to me when you're ready. Again, like you will always find each other when you're ready. Even the same thing with like clients, like a no is not a no, it's just a not yet, right? Or not now. Like that is so true. And I think especially difficult earlier on in business, because like you haven't had the time to see a no turn into a not yet. But I promise, like the longer that you are in it, and I've only been in my business for not even 2 years, you guys. Okay. So it's like not that long, but you really do start to see like, oh yeah, that really was a not yet. And you realize that the not yets are such a gift, because it's like at the time that it was a no, right? It's like, oh yeah, I totally see why we were not meant to work together at that time, and the timing was not aligned there, and now it is. And now I'm going to be able to support you so much better, and I'm going to receive so much more from you as a client. You just really learn to truly trust the timing. And when I say trust the timing and trust the process, it's not even in the way of like, I feel like a lot of times people can come to that phrase of just kind of like a way to cope almost, or like hold on to hope of like, I'm trusting. But it's like you really literally do build that trust, like a deep belief that like it is this or something better. It is always happening for a reason. Like this is for the best. And like truly knowing like that is a gift. I dodged a bullet, or this is going to be so much more amazing than it would have or could have been before. Like you really just start to feel that truth viscerally. I hope I'm making sense the way I'm explaining this. But anyway, that's a side tangent because I'm trying to extend this story. It's really not that long. So I'm trying to squeeze all the juicy lessons out of it that I can. But basically, yeah. And so I was like, oh my God, no way. And we started talking, and then the ceremony started to talk. So we really didn't get to talk much about anything, about like what she wanted to do or anything. And she's like, we need to talk after. And I was like, definitely. We ended up not really getting to talk much after because there was just a lot of people, a lot going on. She had to clean up. And so then that was kind of it. So it was literally too, like remembering, like sometimes just like making one connection. That's all you need to do, right? Think about, again, I think a lot of the time people can be like, especially again, early stage entrepreneurs, it feels like getting a client is so hard. And like, it almost feels like you feel like you have to do all these things and take all these steps to find clients and to get clients and to convert clients, right? And this is what I always talk about is don't force, just flow, right? Don't chase, attract. Like your job is to magnetize, align and magnetize. Finding the clients, connecting with the clients can be easy. It's not supposed to be this difficult, forceful thing, right? I always say your dream clients are out there waiting for you, right? They're just waiting for you to show up for them, to align to their frequency so that you can come together, right? Again, like it's all by design. Literally none of my current clients, like on my current roster, have been a difficult sale, have been a difficult connection, all of our relationships have been so easy because it was just aligned and we were meant to work together. And all the clients where I felt like it was a struggle or like, oh, I'm going to have to like convince them or they're not ready or it's been this and that, right? they're not my current paying clients for a reason, right? So just remember that too. Like if you ever find yourself in that energy, like that is not what's required. And so let that be a red flag to you, right? And like look for the green flags, right? Like when something feels easy, trust that it's easy. Let it be easy, you know? So that's another actually really good side lesson from this. So anyway, we just connected that night. And I was like, we're totally going to work together eventually. Don't know how, don't know when, not going to push it because I just know, right? And that's how you know, when you really don't truly feel a need to like do anything with it because you're like, I just know. And she was also just super cool. So I was excited to have the connection. And then it was like so serendipitous. Like she happened to be doing you know what's so funny actually is, you know how I said there were 2 events I was going to miss that weekend? So I ended up still having to miss the second one because my flight got delayed to Sunday. And one was Saturday and one was Sunday, I think it was. So I couldn't go to the second one, but she was also doing the sound bath at that second one. And I had no idea. And that was actually at my studio. And I had no idea, but she was at both events. So it was like literally I felt the pull, which is interesting upon reflection because I was like, I have such FOMO for these events, but it wasn't FOMO. It was that I just felt like really called to those events. And I'm like, oh, that was why, you know, because I mean, they were just like, they were really awesome events, but they were just like basic events, you know, like a sound bath yin yoga thing. And again, awesome events. I'm not trying to downplay what they are, but not like I hadn't done that before. You know what I mean? On the surface, there wasn't anything that was going to be super like mind-blowing or crazy about them, but I just felt the pull to go. And yeah, that's actually a good reflection for me because I had been saying like, oh, I have such FOMO, but like I was framing it wrong because it really wasn't the case. It wasn't FOMO. It was like I felt the pull and I was like, yeah, like feeling like I was going to be missing out on something. And so also another juicy lesson, maybe I'll actually do this like, you know, five juicy lessons from I was going to do like behind the scenes of my most recent sale, but what if I do like 5 juicy lessons from I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, it's like when you feel those little pulls, I mean, I know again, like that's why I feel like this is such a perfect story to illustrate everything I talk about in terms of specifically like spirituality and trust and manifestation and like following your intuition, because these are things we talk about, but you never really like often like see a whole story from start to finish where you can see all of it come into play. You know what I mean? Because I'm literally always saying, follow that next nudge from your intuition, right? I don't care what it is. I don't care if it feels related to your goal or your manifestation or not, right? Follow it and trust that it will be related in some way, right? So again, I mean, this one is maybe not quite as drastic as some other ones could be, right? But I felt called to go to this event. I didn't know why. I didn't think it was because I was going to meet a potential client there, right? I just thought like it was going to be fun for me, right? But that's why I felt the pull, right? So again, like you never know why you're feeling the pull to something. And I was just talking about this to my coach today too. I was like, again, I feel like I'm getting so tuned in to the point where I actually can start to connect the dots, like to where I'm like, okay, I know that this doesn't seem directly related, but I can feel that if I do this, then this other thing in this other area, like that's what's holding that thing back. Like I really can feel it. And that is my like feeling is my like the feeling and knowing is my primary like clairsense, like claircognizance and clairsentience, I think they would be. I don't really see like visual things much. I'm not very clairvoyant, at least as of right now. And I don't really hear a ton. I definitely do have both of those from time to time, but it's mainly like the knowing and the feeling is so strong for me. And it's a little hard because it's very hard for me to articulate again, because like I just feel it and I just know it. And like, so it's hard for me to explain it sometimes, but it's like, yeah, I can like feel, and it's so hard to explain because it's almost like I can see it, but I see it in a feeling way. Does that make sense? I'm so curious if anyone else who's like really intuitive listening to this knows what I mean by that. Yeah, I don't know how to say it other than like I see it in that I feel it. I don't actually see it, but I feel it so strongly that it's almost like I can see it. Does that make sense? But anyway, so even I was saying today, I can feel like, oh, like I'm hiding in this area and I'm feeling called to stretch myself and do this thing. My goal is actually like this other thing that's not related. For example, like I felt called to make a certain type of content, right? And my goal, it was not that the content, making that piece of content was going to lead directly to a client. But I was like, but I know that energetically, just me stretching myself to do that is what's going to align me to the next client, wherever they may come from. You know what I mean? Or like another example that I gave her today, which is actually a good one. Maybe I should save it though, because it's related to the money validation thing in the money episode. I'll just tell you anyway. While we're here, I'll circle back when we tell that story eventually. But essentially, one of the big shifts, and I did talk about this a little bit a couple episodes ago, was like detaching like money from validation for me. And I realized how much making money and like quote unquote being successful, which really just meant like making money, was like tied to validation. And like basically I was just like, that's why I was feeling so attached to making the money through my business specifically, right? It was like, oh, I realized it's not about the money. It's about making the money through my business. That was what I felt the attachment to. And that was because that was signifying like success to me. And that was validating. That was basically what was saying that I'm worthy, right? That was like the long and short of what my subconscious like program was running. Very common program. I'm sure you can relate. But when I really, really, really realized that and detached that on a deep level and was like, okay, actually, I don't care if the money comes through my business or not. I don't need the money to come through my business to validate me in any way as a coach, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a person. I literally just fully detached and felt no need and was like, it will come when it comes. I don't need that to prove myself in any way. And yes, I still want more money. Like I still am working on, again, breaking that pattern and shifting into the stabilizing of my cash flow. And so then I just so happened to, like, after I had that breakthrough, come across this opportunity that actually felt like super aligned for a part-time source of income that would work really well with my business to supplement income while I was still building my business up, that wasn't related to my business. And for up until I had that realization, I would have not done that. I was rejecting any other, anything like that, because I was like, I don't want to do that. It was really hurting my ego. I was like, I'm not taking a step back from my business. I'm going to make the money through my business. I don't need to make it any other way. I'm not going to, you know what I mean? But it was coming from a place of ego of like, but I need to make the money through my business to feel like worthy and validated. But because I had detached that when this other opportunity, and I even had said to the universe, you guys, I literally said, okay, truly, like, I'm over this. I don't need it to prove myself. I am open to the money coming in any way. You tell me, like, if there is another source, if there's like a part-time thing you want, if there's another way, like, I am truly open to it. And I meant it. And then literally this opportunity comes to me of a way that felt super aligned and exciting. Would, again, not require too much of my time and energy, would work perfectly with my schedule, with my business, wouldn't take away from me being able to still prioritize my business, right? Which is the one thing I wanted to make sure I was like, I am down to, I'm open to this because it's not an ego thing for me anymore, but I'm also not looking to look for another source of income because I don't believe it's coming through my business, right? It was coming from a place of supporting myself energetically, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I felt really excited about it. And I was like, yes, oh my God, this is so it. This is so happening. I'm so good. And I submitted the thing. And I kid you not, the second after I submitted the application, immediately I was like, oh, I'm not getting that. I'm not doing that. I don't even want to do that anymore. Like that, I felt the shift right away. And it was like, oh, like I just realized, like I just had to do that to prove to the universe that I actually have detached it, right? I actually genuinely was excited and was willing to pursue that. And then it was like, as my reward, the universe was like, okay, now you don't have to. We're going to just send you the clients and give you the money through your business anyway. But like, that is how that shit works, you guys. So I hope this is helpful, like really seeing the like behind the scenes in the weeds of like, because it's so nuanced, and like that is how it works. It's like these tests that feel like they make no sense, and like they're not tests, but they kind of are. And like you just have to, that's what the trust is. And again, the more that you trust and the more you go through this and the more you tune in, you really start to know and feel and like kind of know what's happening. And it's just like funny. It really is fun. I always say the universe is just out there having a silly goose time, and like you just laugh at it and like you just have fun with it, and it's just a game. It's just like literally you just start going with the flow. And that's like, you just move through with curiosity. And it's really just a thing of like, oh, wonder. And that this is like coming back to the whole lesson of this main story is like every time something goes bad, right? And this was like a thing where it was like in my personal life, right? And then it ended up leading to a win in my business. But it happens all the time in your business too, right? Where something seemingly is bad and then it turns into something good. And it's just literally always knowing and trusting. Like there is no such thing, right? Again, like bad is what allows you to experience good. So literally every time you experience something quote unquote bad, right? It's just creating space for something good. It's allowing you, setting you up to be able to experience that, right? So anyway, to circle back and wrap up this story. Yeah, so then I like went to Iceland and, you know, we had connected on Instagram and we had like messaged a couple times here and there. And that was pretty much it. Again, like I didn't push anything because I kind of like forgot about it, you know? I was just like, you know, doing my thing in Iceland. And then I came back and then, okay, I kind of want to tell this little side story too, because it also works perfectly with this, me saying that it was going to be a quick episode and it being an hour anyway. You can't see, but I'm shaking my fist at the camera. What else is new? Okay, really quick, I do want to share this story too, because it's kind of related, kind of not. This is more about the, I don't know, kind of like, what do I want to say? Letting the world tell you no, and also maybe the wording will come to me after I tell the story. But essentially, long story short, a sister, friend, collaborator, girl that I was in a mastermind with invited me to participate in a giveaway she was running, to basically offer something as a part of the prize, right? That they would win. And when she asked that, I was like, I really don't have anything like good. I was like, I don't have anything to offer. I don't have anything that fits like the price range and the type of like offer she wants for this. And I could have easily just been like, thank you so much for the offer. I don't really have anything that fits this, and not done it, right? But I was like, hell no, what does a bad bitch CEO do? She makes something up, right? Fake it till you make it. So I guess that's kind of what it is. It's just kind of like, yeah, like stepping up into that like CEO leadership and, you know, taking advantage of opportunities and not leaving money on the table. I don't know like what the phrase and there's like a specific phrase I'm looking for here. And it's funny because I told this story to the other girls that were invited, and one of my friends was like, oh my God, what a great story. And also good reminder for me, who at the time was like, I don't have anything and didn't submit anything. So it's like remembering that you always have the choice. Like you can choose to believe that that's the answer, or you can be like, how can I get creative? How can I be a leader with this? How can I, you know, take this as an opportunity to get creative and innovative and allow it to spark inspiration for me? And sometimes those things and those opportunities can really turn into even more than you ever realize. And so basically, because of that offer, I was like, okay, what could I offer? And I put together this 2-week one-on-one intensive offer, the one that I just promoted to you earlier, right? I put that together for this giveaway. And I honestly didn't think I was ever going to use it again, you know, because I was like, oh, I'll just do it for the giveaway. Yeah, cool. So someone ended up winning the giveaway who I am actually doing the intensive with right now, and it's actually going amazingly. And we have had so much magic together in just the first week, honestly, like insane. And we both can tell how divine the timing was that we came together to work together. She's like, oh my God, this is exactly what I've been needing. And like, even too, we couldn't schedule it until March because I was going to be in Iceland and the time zones wasn't working. And so even like our delaying and starting it, the timing was perfect. And again, I could have at the time been like, oh, like we're not going to be able to start, But instead I was like, okay, we're meant to start in March for some reason. And it was such perfect timing. We're talking right now about her extending into a private client. So another example of like, again, I could have said no, right? I think the lesson of this one is say yes and find a way to say yes to things that feel expansive, right? Because I could have just said no and like been like, oh, I don't have anything, you know, and kind of what's like, you know, had that attitude. What's like the attitude that I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, been in like the victim mindset more, or been in the, yeah, I guess it's just like the leadership, I guess. I feel like I'm missing a word here. Tell me if, I know that some of you are like listening and like screaming a word at me. And then nothing would have happened, right? Nothing would have changed. Nothing would have expanded. No more opportunity would have come to me, right? Because I didn't capitalize on that opportunity. But instead, I did. I came up with this offer and then I got this client from it. And this is why the story is really cool, because not only did I get this client from it, but the inspiration for the offer, like once I started working with this client, I was like, wait a minute, we can actually get so much done in 2 weeks. I'm going to offer this publicly as a paid offer. And so I did. And then when I posted that offer out, literally the very first post even the very first story I posted about it, this girl that I met at that event responded, and I reached out and was like, oh my God, are you interested? And she was like, oh my God, I think so. We had a quick little fun convo, talked about it. And she was like, oh my God, yes, I'm in. I'm so excited. Literally, it was that easy. It was so aligned. And yeah, so I wanted to tell both stories because they fit together so perfectly. Because again, it was like, sometimes things lead to a direct result, right? This client from the giveaway, and that's probably what you would expect to happen. And also, I got another client because of the offer that I was inspired to create because of that opportunity. You know what I mean? So I think it's just so cool to zoom out and see how it all connects. And then also how like the whole other element played in where I thought something was happening that I didn't want to happen, right? But then I trusted the process and it ended up leading to me meeting her and then so it like literally just like I feel like if you are able to look at this and zoom out and see how all the dots connect, I really hope that this can help you like just integrate this mindset into your own life and really know and trust like it is all always happening as a part of a bigger picture and it is all working together. And another thing is too, I said this to a client today. I was like, when you tell the universe what you want, the universe will give it to you, right? The universe will act fast. But what you have to remember is that you have to be open and you have to be ready, right? So sometimes like you will tell the universe you want something and the universe will send you exactly what is required for you to manifest that thing. Sometimes that's going to be something that could look like the exact opposite of what you think you want or the exact opposite of your manifestation because there's an experience that you need to integrate a lesson before you're going to be ready to receive that or to experience that, right? So that's a part of trusting the process too, right? For example, like back before I met my last ex before Sindri, right? That wasn't a very healthy relationship at all. I had just like really started to dive into like inner child healing and shadow work and self-love. And in that first coaching program that I did, and after that, I was like, okay, universe, I'm ready. I'm ready to manifest love in my life, right? And the universe was like, bet. And they sent me that relationship, right? And that was because it was like my final test of, okay, are you ready? Or are you still going to basically allow yourself to be treated this way? And are you going to still energize these patterns? Because if I had met Sindri at that time, well, to be honest, like to be fair, I knew him already, right? And so it just goes to show and prove this, right? I wasn't ready for that healthy love. I wasn't ready for his love at that time. I wasn't ready for our relationship at that time. And that's why it didn't happen, right? That's why it didn't happen until it happened because I wasn't there yet. And so the universe sent me what seemed like the exact opposite of what I asked for, right? The exact opposite of my soulmate. But that's because I needed to go through that experience to finally integrate those lessons to then be ready for my soulmate, right? So like it always works that way. So I think sometimes we can really just use the reminder of, what it really means to trust the process. It's not, I feel like there's a lot of people that are like, I'm trusting the process. I'm like, no, you're not, right? It is truly not just something you say. It's not just something you say to try to like keep your hopes up or keep the belief or like tell yourself to feel better. It's literally like a way of living. And when you really integrate this, like just nothing ever, it's like really like things can't go back. Obviously, you're still going to be upset about things. You're just going to have emotions. Obviously, that's a whole separate thing. I'm not saying you're not going to be upset about things, but you will always have that knowing and trust in the back of your mind. And a lot of the time, right, if it's not big, heavy stuff, it does make it a lot easier. You do get way less upset about things because you do know like, oh my God, thank you. You know, it's all a gift and it's all a part of it. And yeah, I mean, it's a great way to live. So I really hope that like hearing these stories and just this like kind of my relationship with these concepts and how they have shown up in my life recently and how they could show up in your life has helped. This is going to be one of those episodes where I feel like it's an absolute mess and hopefully I listen back and I'm like, okay, that actually flowed way better than I thought. Or maybe it still sounds like a mess. But either way, I hope this was helpful. And yeah, if you have any stories like this, I would love to hear, because I think, I don't know, it would probably, because first of all, one of the most powerful ways to actually deepen and build your own trust like this is to reflect on the times when this has happened for you and to really connect the dots in your own life. Because truly, like when we don't, I feel like I've said truly so much in this episode, side note, when we don't feel that trust in the universe, in ourselves, in the process, in our path, right? It's because there's a part of our past or a path or a story, like experience we've gone through, where we still have a story that we're holding on to that actually wasn't serving or wasn't a gift in some way. And so looking back and actually seeing how even like the most challenging, horrible experiences you went through were a gift in some way and were a part of getting you to where you are now, and really finding acceptance for all of that, like that is really how you anchor this in, and it's life-changing. And as an entrepreneur, it is an invaluable, non-negotiable mindset to have. It's a non-negotiable quality to have. I don't know the word, but I mean, you need to have that trust. You need to have that long haul energy, and you need to be able to connect to that big vision and know that it's all a part of the path, that every single perceived setback in your business, in your life, is a necessary step to get you where you want to go. If you don't have that as an entrepreneur, like that, those are the entrepreneurs that don't make it. It can be really real. So energy moving. So yeah, I think this is an important episode. Again, I feel like trust the process and this or something better can feel like such broad concepts that are kind of far away. So I hopefully that helped to like kind of anchor them into like a grounded, real, tangible story with examples, and also like just fun. Who doesn't love hearing fun little manifestation story time? So that's all I got for you. I'm going to go to sleep. Oh my God, 3 minutes until midnight. I'm going to edit this tomorrow so I can get to bed, because I will not break my streak, or I will not break my pattern, my cycle, whatever. No, I am breaking the cycle. I am breaking the cycle of falling off on Wednesday. So I'm going to sleep right now. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, night, wherever you are, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.